93% of his kickoffs have been touchbacks this year. That leads the league. This is not going to be one of them. Into that breeze. Sonoris Perry runs it back and gets across the 25. Across the formation. Line of scrimmage, the 27. And they start with a short throw, and they start with a slip by Kenny Stills. Injured in the game against the Jets, did not play in that 40-0 loss in Baltimore. Matt Moore was at quarterback. Swing pass and a good catch by Damian Williams, now the starting running back. Linebacker lined up as a fullback to lead the way for Damian Williams, who got spun around and got across the 40. Cutler when Tannehill went down. Davis was the offensive coordinator for a year in Chicago with Jay Cutler as his quarterback. Damian Williams driven back by Luke Kuechly. Struggled on third down this year, 31%. Only Cleveland worse. Cutler on the run, had a man open, but the throw was off the hand of Jarvis Landry. Back deep at his own 10-yard line. That breeze at the back of Hawk. McCaffrey will try to bring it back from the 9. And he weaves his way across the 15-yard line. Here at Bank of America Stadium. First possession for Carolina. Cam Newton over the middle. Incomplete, trying to connect with his tight end Ed Dixon. Carolina Panthers in each of their last 4 games. He hands it off to Christian McCaffrey, and it's a hard-earned yard and a half or 2. Bills. Third down at 8. Miami brings a blitz. Newton got hit as he threw. There's McCaffrey's ability with the ball in his hands and a first down out to the 38-yard line. Catch of the year. He already has the single-season Carolina reception record among running backs with half a season to go. The toss to Jonathan Stewart, and he got stood up after a gain with forward progress to the 44-yard line. Curtis Samuel, rookie out of Ohio State. He got stood up short of the line to make, about 2 yards short. 8 games of the year for violation of the league's substance abuse policy. And that pass incomplete. Off the hands of the open Russell Shepard. Michael Palardy, who's been the best punter in the league for the last several weeks. High and end over end, and a fair catch made by Landry at the 12-yard line. Offense in the NFL this year, Miami. They're also last in total yardage, and Cutler's throw nowhere near Damian Williams with a rush in the face of Jay Cutler.
Oh boy.
On 2nd and 10, no chance. That front, is the flag down now on the play. That front just overwhelmed the offensive line of the Dolphins, led by Charles Johnson.
We're off before the ball was snapped.
There is no foul for offensive holding. Will be third down.
3rd and 14. They have not converted this year on 3rd and 11 or more. The only team in the league who hasn't done that, and they won't do it this time either. Very conservative play call. McCaffrey caught it at the 43, weaves across the 45, and that's all. Well covered again by Michael Thomas. Flag down, 55-yard punt.
During the return, the legal block in the back. Return team number 10. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, Carolina. Timeout.
D'Angelo Williams splitting time now with the rookie McCaffrey. Alex Arma lines up as the fullback. And Stewart follows him back to the line of scrimmage, perhaps just to cross it. McCaffrey back in. Newton faked it to him, and he fires a strike to Russell Shepard. Wide open Shepard again, and he drops one for the 2nd time. Next year from Buffalo. Benjamin made his Bills debut yesterday when they got routed by New Orleans. Had 3 catches. Jonathan Stewart runs down to the 41-yard line, about a yard and a half shy of the first down. More frequently in between the tackles as a pro. He ran inside at Stanford. He was going to run inside there, but there are flags down to stop the play.
False start. Offense number 10. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
11 total. Movement again. Carolina's the least penalized team in the league this year.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 93. 5-yard penalty. They're down.
This is a 3-point loss last Sunday at home against Oakland. 4-man rush. Newton throws. Should be a first down if they give him the 39, and they do. It's Curtis Samuel. Has eased his way back into a regular routine in the regular season in terms of practice. Over the middle, Ed Dixon has done a nice job filling in for Greg Olson. They're in field goal range for Graham Gano. 2nd and 4, design run for Newton, and he slides down. T.J. McDonald went flying over him, careful not to hit the quarterback on his way to the ground. Newton escapes, now throws back across the middle, and it's intercepted. T.J. McDonald.
Earlier. Poor throw on the move. Does McDonald have possession? I think this might be a challenge.
While we were away, Gene Steratore over to the sideline to the tablet in communication with Al Riveron and the officiating folks in New York. And we think that ruling on the field of interception, coach, is going to be overturned.
After review, the ruling on the field has been reversed to an incomplete pass. It will be Carolina's ball, 2nd and 10. From the 24-yard line, the ball will be placed on the hash mark nearest Carolina's bench.
Understandably not happy.
Christian McCaffrey and the Wildcat took the direct snap and did well to get a couple of yards. 3rd down and 9, 2 minutes to go in a scoreless first quarter. Newton throws, and a little bit behind, Curtis Samuel. Punter Michael Pilardi, the holder. J.J. Jansen, the snapper. Gano's had a great year. Now 20 for 21. Wow. This season, his only miss was from 55 yards to the Eagles. In a trade that surprised many. Gano's kickoff down to Sonoris Perry.
Here in Miami, and hopefully it works out for both parties.
Cutler, after the play fake, throws it short. And Devontae Parker apparently was deemed down. Kenyon Drake, the running back, now to the right of Cutler. He's the speedier of the two, trying to take the place of Ajayi, and that throw is down the field, but way too high. Average in that area. A blitz. Cutler got it off. He got hammered, but threw a good ball to Kenny Stills for a Miami first down.
Is in the no-huddle offense.
12-yard gain. Kenyon Drake, second-year man out of Alabama, taken down by James Bradbury, also in his second year. He's among a running back group in the NFL, Green Bay, and they have more than twice as many, nearly 1,400 rushing yards from that group. Cutler's pass on a 1-year, $10 million deal, and we visited him with it over the weekend. He said he's glad he made that decision. He has enjoyed playing for the Dolphins. He enjoyed that throw as well. Devontae Parker. Cutler off his back foot. Another wobbler in the general direction of Jarvis Landry.
Extremely talented.
On the ground on 2nd and 10. And Kenyon Drake dragged down immediately by K'Wan Short, the Hermit who left to become the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. 4-man rush that time. Cutler deep ball, and it's incomplete. Intended for Julius Thomas. And Hawk will punt for Miami. Kalen Clay back deep for it and makes a fair catch at the 15-yard line. As a top-line receiver, he doesn't have a catch tonight. Cameron Artis-Payne, the 3rd member of the running back trio, his first carry of the night.
I've seen tonight, they better get him back quick.
Newton steps up and throws. Open man. There's the primary replacement for Olsen. Dixon, who was alone along the sideline but could not make the catch. 3rd down and 7. Panthers from their own 18-yard line. Newton throws. First down. First catch of the night for Devin Funchess. Chris Manhertz, the tight end, went in motion. Posse leading the way for Jonathan Stewart. He managed to stay in bounds along the far sideline long enough to get the first down with 2 yards to spare.
Mike Shula, the offensive coordinator.
Jonathan Stewart took the handoff straight ahead across the 45-yard line. Driven. Play fake to Stewart, who stays in the block, and Newton has his man. Samuel got belted by T.J. McDonald, but hung on for a first down to the Miami 32-yard line. Early, perhaps get him to hang his head. Sometimes that could get carried down through the rest of the team. Russell Shepard came up looking for a flag again. Mike downplayed the significance of playing against the Dolphins tonight. It's been a while since his dad was the coach. Here's Stewart rumbling inside the 15-yard line. 2 qualifying runners in the league averaging under 3 yards per carry for the year, and they are both the Panther running backs. Straight back to throw. Quarterback draw for Newton. And he dives down near the 7-yard line. Ducked under a hit. 11th play of the drive for Carolina. They lead 3-0. Newton throws short. And it's caught by Funches, who's lunging to try to get the first down. Caffrey now, the running back to the left of Newton. He takes the handoff, and he scores! Avoided the Dolphins behind the line of scrimmage and took it in for the first touchdown of the night.
They're not going to block the end man on the line of scrimmage. He's going to put the ball in McCaffrey's stomach. And if the defensive end takes Newton, fine. He'll hand it to McCaffrey, and it's exceptional open field running by the ex-Stanford Cardinal.
Not very good tackling, certainly, by Kiko Alonso. And the extra point up and good by Graham Gano.
I think he should have won the Heisman Trophy.
Finished second to Derrick Henry of Alabama in 2015 for the Heisman. At 85 yards, a fine soccer player. At Stanford as well. Cutler. There we go. On target, Jarvis Landry. Deeper downfield than usual, and a nice gain out to the 44-yard line. And ordinarily the middle linebacker in as a blocker, leading the way for Damian Williams. And he threw a nice block to help Williams get across midfield to the 49-yard line of Carolina. Maluga was on the couch by his own admission. He was fat when he showed up. Didn't play till week 5. Here's Williams. Chased out of bounds by Mike Adams, but it's another Miami first down. Carolina 38-yard line. Cutler deep down the middle, wobbly pass, and Landry got walloped. The Dolphins with their best drive of the night. 2nd and 10 from the Carolina 38. Wide open. Damian Williams, first down and much more. Shoved out of bounds by Kurt Coleman. Only Cleveland has had a lead less this year, and they haven't won a game. The Dolphins, it's another amazing thing that we talked about earlier. How are they 4-4 when you look at all the numbers and the things that have transpired? Kenyon Drake, red zone possession of the year. That's the fewest in the league. Cutler going for Julius Thomas and over his head. Their coaches, Ron Rivera and Steve Wilkes, the coordinator, singled him out for praise in our meetings. Quick pop, first down. Devontae Parker dragged down at the 6-yard line, and now some extracurriculars and a flag thrown after the play.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 26, half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Straight regular season games dating back to last year without a rushing touchdown. That is the franchise record. Drake didn't get in there. Shovel pass. Julius Thomas lunges for the end zone and scores.
Nice effort by Thomas.
Was it a touchdown? Was the knee down before the ball broke the plane? It's a scoring play, so it's automatically reviewed.
Look out there, the referee's holding the ball.
It is confirmed a touchdown. He's missed 3 extra points. He's 9 out of 10 in field goals, but he's 9 out of 12 in extra points. And that one is good for Atlanta. How about the New Orleans Saints?
I'm telling you. Saints and Rams.
Two of the great stories in the NFL this season. 7 straight wins for New Orleans to lead this division. Newton with the pocket pushed back toward him, throws, and it's caught by Ed Dixon along the far sideline. And Newton, always ready for football, thrives in the spotlight. Throws a screen on 1st and 10. Christian McCaffrey did well to avoid a loss and drags Andre Branch along for a little bit for a gain of about 6.
From Christian McCaffrey.
They've been a very good team in these 2-minute situations. Receiver fell down, punches. Final 2 minutes of the first half. Only Minnesota has more around the league. 4-man rush. Newton dumps it off. First down. Curtis Samuel shoved out of bounds, but had enough. Matt Burke brings 5. There's a flag down. Newton runs away from the rush, now takes off. Turns it into a gain if it stands, but there's a flag way back at the 40-yard line.
This will be holding.
Holding. Offense number 70. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
Defensive tackles and total tackles since he came into the league. Good throw and catch. Brenton Burson. 2nd down and 8. Cam flushed from the pocket and throws it away. Former Nebraska Cornhuskers, become a good pal of Warren Buffett. He's involved in a number of businesses off the field. Newton, they had him around the waist, couldn't swing him down, and his pass was off the hands of Christian McCaffrey.
Wrong.
Pilardi on the punt, kind of spot on the field. You might think about a fake, but he punts it away and punts it into the end zone. Butler will come out throwing, and he throws an interception. Thought they might play it conservatively in the final minute of the half. Down at the 46-yard line.
Watch Kuechly. He reads this route all the way. He knew Julius Thomas was going to the corner. We'll see what the flag is, but there's not a linebacker in football. Saturday.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. The original offense, Miami, number 89. That 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run after the interception. First down, Carolina.
Assist his or better.
Well, I'll argue about that.
Newton pulls it down, then throws. Open man, Curtis Samuel put his head down and got close to a first down. Of Samuel because they had just taken McCaffrey with similar skills in the first round. Quarterback draw. Newton down at the 7-yard line. He's not afraid of getting hit. To him, it's a part of the game. It's part of what makes him him. He threw that up for grabs for Burson. And difference heading toward the half between a touchdown and a field goal try for Carolina. 4-man rush, flag down, throw to the end zone, caught by Dixon for a touchdown if it stands. But there was a flag thrown along the line of scrimmage, and the official who threw it is pointing at the Dolphins.
He's done filling in for Greg Olsen.
Defense, number 50. Penalty is declined. The result of the play. Touchdown.
And goes down, and you're going to see left side of your screen just a simple post pattern, and Ed Dixon goes up and gets it. That's impressive. The man caught 51 passes one season as a Baltimore Raven. Olsen, I bet there's nobody happier for Dixon than Greg Olsen if you can find him on the sideline.
Good. He did it twice in the first half going into the wind. Boy. Third one tonight they've run back. He had the best percentage of touchbacks, over 90% this year. He had only Perry ran that one.
Holding. Return team number 27. 10-yard penalty. First down, Miami.
Pulling the ball, I think, better and better, and he proved it there. Carolina is a great football team.
Both of these teams will have a bye week next week. It wasn't supposed to be. Miami was supposed to have a bye week next week. What I meant to say, they won't have it because of the rescheduling of the game wiped out by Hurricane Irma. Play fake, and Newton fires to Devin Funchess for a first down. Newton held on to it for a long time, then gave it to Jonathan Stewart. He weaved his way across midfield to the 46-yard line of Miami. His 10th year out of Oregon. Average less than 3 yards per carry coming in, almost 8 yards per rush tonight. The previous play got 15. And Miami scored only 20 points or more twice this year. Stewart leaps over a would-be tackler and lands very close to the first down marker. Ed Dixon, the tight end, lined up in the backfield. Play fake to Cameron Artis-Payne. Design run for Cam and a first down. Inside the 30 and out of bounds at the 28-yard line. And the most in a game by any quarterback in the league this year. He has 26 rush yards tonight. Adding to his passing total, it's dropped by Curtis Samuel. McCaffrey empties the backfield as he goes out to the left. They tried to throw it quickly to him, and the pass is deflected and falls incomplete. The Panthers on third down. Quick hitter, Devin Funchess. Touchdown, Carolina.
And then he audibles to the quick screen, and at the bottom of the screen, it's Funchess picking up a block from Khalil and McCaffrey. That's the second time I've seen McCaffrey throw a key block. Watch number 22. How good is that? That's unbelievable.
8-yard touchdown pass. Most of it the run after the catch by Funchess. His 4th touchdown of the year. The extra point good by Graham Gano. Maybe they need to call the Gruden hotline. That would not be an appropriate thing to do at the half. Sonoris Perry weaves his way out across the 25-yard line. They'll get this college basketball season started. Damian Williams on first down. It is a veteran group. Johnson's 31 years old. They have a lot of 30-somethings on the defense. Kenny Stills weaved his way out to the 40 with a first down for Miami.
Up tempo.
Incomplete pass. Hill has been actively involved, coming to the meetings, being a part of the preparation process with the healthy quarterbacks. And Jay Cutler indicated to us the other night as he completes that pass to Jarvis Landry that
is rejuvenated in Miami. Quick count.
Out to Jarvis Landry, and he comes down just short of the line to make.
I love it.
4th and 1, they're going for it, and Kuechly is there with some help to drive Damian Williams back. Miami went for it on 4th and 1, didn't get it, so the Panthers take over 1st and 10 at the Miami 48, and Jonathan Stewart gets them to the 42. Everybody bunched around the ball for Carolina, and it's a run for Stewart. Finds a big hole to his right. He's having a breakout night tonight. First down, Carolina at the 25-yard line. Averaging 7.9 per rush. He averaged 2.9 for the year coming in. The fake to McCaffrey. The catch made by Russell Shepard, and they are just gashing the Miami Dolphins now. Cameron Artis-Payne, boy, the Dolphins made that awfully easy. Touchdown, Carolina. They are pulling away from the Miami Dolphins after a 12-yard touchdown run.
You're going to see Trey Turner, and you're going to see Ed Dixon escort Cameron Artis-Payne for 6. A clinic in Charlotte.
And Gano's extra point makes it 31-7. Military family. Gano kicks off. That will be a touchback. Uncles who served in World War II and in Korea. Julius Thomas swung down to the 31-yard line. A great discipline, man of great faith. So much appreciation for his dad and our members of the military. Decided to return to Carolina, that this team is a Super Bowl contender. 3rd down and 1. Look out. Running room for Kenyon Drake.
They catching him.
They do, but it's too late. In the end zone. Touchdown. 66 yards and no flags on the play.
With the crease, and he hits it. Played wide receiver, running back, great returner. You probably remember him against Clemson. Stop the bleeding.
Carolina thinking that it might be an onside kick here. Cody Parkey pulled off a terrific surprise onside kick against Oakland last Sunday night. They would not have been surprised if he tried it there. And Kalen Clay tripped up. Surprise provide support for other families impacted by congenital heart disease. Cam Newton may go. He's ahead of the field, and they run him down inside the 20-yard line. Poor Dre Tankersley saved the touchdown. It's 69 on that play. From the 18. Stewart weaves down to the 14. Newton pulls it back and throws toward the end zone for Funchess, and there's a flag.
Pass interference. Defense, number 25. Spot foul. Automatic. First down.
First and goal from the 2. They give it to Stewart, and he's dropped at the line of scrimmage. Rolling right, running out of space. Is he in bounds? Yes. Touchdown, Christian McCaffrey and Carolina.
It's an excellent job understanding where the sideline is. Does he get both feet in? That might be reviewed, but I think he's got both knees down.
Whatever momentum they might have had after the long touchdown run by Drake, they're back 4-4 largely because their defense has held them in there as the offense has scuffled all year long. And you got a very up close look at. They're 550 pounds, some of them. And they were a couple of feet away as he traversed the jungles over there. Jarvis Landry. Boy, great jump across the line, and too quick was Mario Addison.
False start. Offense number 51. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Game, but he's got 7.5 sacks himself.
Cutler, a good throw. And some run after the catch by Devontae Parker, taken down from behind at the 50-yard line. Going to hum it deep again into a crowd and over the head of Devontae Parker. Good ball in football at the University of North Carolina. Look out. Cutler looked like he had nowhere to go. Escaped and nearly threw another interception to Luke Kuechly. Freeney next 125.5. Still the force at age 37. And here he comes. He got to Cutler just as he got it off. There is a flag down. The end of the
Illegal
play.
formation. Offense number 67 was not on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty. Replay third down.
But you weren't the only coach whose team he ravaged from time to time. Cutler, after the 17-yard game was nullified, tried to get it in there to Devontae Parker. Matt Hawk punts it away. Kalen Clay let it bounce. Likely the final play of the quarter. It's one of the few things that's gone wrong in the third quarter for Carolina. The first negative yardage play of the night for the Panthers. McCaffrey burst to speed and the stiff arm. And he's to the 32-yard line, tackled by T.J. McDonald. Dolphins bring a blitz, and McCaffrey back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. Then the Dolphins bring pressure. It was McDonald in a safety blitz. They tried to throw a screen away from it, and it's an incomplete pass intended for McCaffrey. Because you're going to be here for a very short period of time before you become a head coach, and I want continuity. Good throw and catch. Russell Shepard made the catch. Kalen Clay took a big hit, hung on to the ball. Cordray Tankersley, the rookie out of Clemson. Stewart at 50-yard line. They were talking about that. A lot of times he's the one delivering the hit. He's not absorbing the hit. He's delivering the blow to the opponent.
Take certainly.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 91. That 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
And he's
Stewart, nice cut back to his right. And he has a first down. The only player with a lower average was Christian McCaffrey. His teammate, Cameron Artis-Payne, the third-string running back. 466 yards of offense tonight for Carolina. Still more than 9 minutes to go. Cameron Artis-Payne again.
I'm not going to get involved 8 weeks, 9 weeks into it. Look out. How about that throw? I'll take Carolina.
Devin punches the catch for the touchdown.
And he does it all the time on Monday Night Football. I got to send him something. He owns Monday Night Football. He's thrown for over 300 yards on Monday night. He's a primetime player, always has been. What a throw.
Big night for Funchess as he tries to firmly establish himself as their leading wide receiver. Extra point good by Gano.
Shutout in London, 20-0.
In between that game with the Ravens and tonight was last Sunday against Oakland, even though they lost by 3.
Younger Schuler.
Cutler on first down, batted out of the air by Mike Adams.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Dad was at the game last weekend in Miami. Don, now 87 years old. And he stills the run after the catch. Ball in December. They have Buffalo twice.
You see a lot of in any team in NFL history, and the Dolphins needed a few of those right now.
Flag down on the play as Cutler threw an incomplete pass.
Prior to the pass, or there was no pass, holding defense, number 20, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
As I've seen in a while.
Surprising playoff team last year at 10-6. Cutler on target again.
Gonna have a long flight home to Miami tonight.
He's just in his second year with the
At all.
He thought the trade of Ajayi helped some get the message that if you weren't fully on board, weren't at the very least Miami padding their stats. That one almost intercepted. Captain
Coleman at free safety, second to none in the league. They played a lot of football.
Cutler had time, throws, caught, touchdown, Jarvis Landry.
Side the pocket. You're going to see Cutler just get the shotgun snap. Peer out to his right against his 3-man rush. There's 8 Carolina Panthers in the end zone, and Jarvis Landry does an excellent job uncovering.
We appreciated the hit from Mike Adams after the touchdown. Team's not leading a division. Cody Parkey's kickoff down to Kalen Clay. And he's down at the 25 backup out of Oregon State. His first act, a handoff to Cameron Artis-Payne. Dives in the game against New Orleans back in September, late September. Tough run by Artis-Payne. He just basically ran over. Keep their streak alive. They've scored a touchdown on each of their last 5 possessions. This drive to stay alive. Artis-Payne. It might be 6 straight possessions with a touchdown. Tankersley stops him inside the 25-yard line. Now we've witnessed a franchise record 550 yards of total offense for the Panthers tonight, passing the 543 they put up against Chicago.
And I was in double trouble after that game. Oh, boy.
Take a knee again. 6 touchdowns, 30 first downs for Carolina tonight. 3. We haven't given them the win yet, but I think that's pretty safe.
I think so. I think those are some big games at New Orleans, certainly. And Minnesota looks good. How about Case Keenum?
The third down impressive tonight. 11 out of 14. There's no team in the league this season that had at least 10 attempts on third down and converted 75% or more. They did that tonight too. First team in the league this year to score a touchdown on 5 straight possessions. A very impressive performance throughout. And Carolina a winner 45-21 tonight over the Miami Dolphins, who play on national TV for the 3rd straight game for the first time in franchise history, and they get routed in 2 out of the 3 and lose all 3. The GMC postgame coming up next on SportsCenter.